So, you're trying to answer life's big questions by watching a YouTube video. Well, you're actually on the right track, because all you need is to find the truth to your life. And luckily for us, there was a man who dedicated his life to showing other human beings the truth. His name was Jiddu Krishnamurti. And today, thanks to the Jiddu Krishnamurti Foundation, we can watch his talks and seminars and question sessions from the comfort of our own home, from beyond the grave, on YouTube. So there's a plethora of talks and hundreds of hours of Krishnamurti more or less speaking about the same thing. He's always talking about the truth. It just takes different approaches to try and show you, because it's all about you having the insight into your life, and then the enlightenment part, or to live life as a light to oneself, as Jiddu Krishnamurti more aptly refers to your life. As soon as you see the truth, or as soon as you have clarity, that's easy. You just need to see the truth, and he's doing it for you. He speaks in concise, simple English. It's utterly posh British English, actually. And everything he says is based on logic and reasoning. There's no divinities, no mysterious universe, nothing. It's just logic and reasoning, like a scientist or a detective looking at the evidence and not believing all the bullshit stories you're being told. So, you see, the truth is universal. The truth is applicable for every empathic human being. It's like a law of physics or a science experiment. It doesn't matter where you try and recreate it or prove it, or who does it. It'll always work. And that's why, like laws of physics, anybody could find it. Anybody could find the truth for their own life. It's your fucking life. You could find it. Like, it's nothing superhuman. It's perfectly human. It's perfectly natural. Now, in case I mentioned the truth and you thought of a truth that you hold dear, well, the truth that you hold dear may very well be a facet of the truth. It may be a part of the truth to your life. However, the reason you know it's only a facet is because as soon as you see the truth to your life, it doesn't just change your outlook or your perspective on life. It's like you get reborn into a brand new life that you didn't even think was possible. So it certainly wouldn't go unnoticed. You see, as soon as you understand the truth to your life, as soon as you have insight, it's a bit like when we're kids and we believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus seems super real. You see the evidence of his visit by all the presents you got in the morning, right? Everybody's telling you that Santa Claus came. It seems like everybody's in agreement that Santa Claus is real. But sooner or later we find out that the presents are actually left there by our parents. And sometimes that's a little bit hard to accept at first, but as soon as you accept that it's just a story, as soon as you accept that Santa Claus isn't real, as soon as you have that insight, it's sort of like Santa Claus dies to us, right? He seemed so real before, and now in our imagination he just doesn't exist anymore. He's gone. And you can't accidentally believe in Santa Claus again. You can't go back to believing in Santa Claus again. It doesn't work. I've tried. And you see, it's very similar when it comes to your life. Because as soon as you have insight into your life, which Jiddu Krishnamurti is desperately trying to show you so that you can have the insight for your life, as soon as you understand the story and you understand the truth, there's a complete change in the way that you live. You see, we all live a life of struggle, of conflict, of drama, of trying to become better, trying to make our parents proud, trying to prove them wrong, or whatever it may be, whatever the chip on your shoulder may be, whatever struggle that you find yourself fighting, or the wars that we're waging. And as soon as we have insight into our life of conflict, as soon as we understand it, then we know how to end the wars. And as soon as you end the wars, then it's like you finally get to rest. You finally get to rest in peace while you're still alive and breathing and kicking and ready to have fun. As soon as the struggle ends, you live life as a light to yourself. And all that Jiddu Krishnamurti is trying to show you, he's trying to give you insight into your life, not the other listeners. He's trying to give you insight into your life. That's it. He doesn't want anything in return. It's the most selfless gift you'll ever receive. And you see, Jiddu Krishnamurti only focuses on the truth. It's like the less glorious route. He focuses on the truth so that you can have insight. He doesn't even talk about the enlightenment part or to live life as a light to oneself. He barely mentions that because that would be a distraction. As soon as you have a motive, as soon as you want to gain something, as soon as you have a goal you want to attain, as soon as your mind is preoccupied with that shit, right? Unimportant shit, you can't focus on the truth. And as soon as you want something from Jiddu Krishnamurti, that's selfish. It doesn't want anything from you. It's a cooperative conversation. And all you need to do is just slow down and relax and look at what is. Just because the thing is, it's all about you having insight into your own life. That's it. That's all you have to do. And you take control of your happiness. You take control of ending the wars. And you see, as soon as you see the truth, or as soon as you have insight, like with Santa Claus, like no one has to explain to you how to not believe in Santa Claus, right? As soon as you have clarity, as soon as the facts are clear, you don't need instructions. That's easy, like it's self-explanatory. As soon as you have clarity, it's easy. And Jiddu Krishnamurti is pulling out a leg from beyond the grave to try and give his listeners insight, to help them see the truth for their life. Like, it's your life. You've been living it for X amount of years, right? Up until this point. So you're an expert in your life experience, right? And it's about you. It's about you having insight. And it's like Jiddu Krishnamurti doesn't want to hog any of the glory. He doesn't want to lure anybody in. He doesn't want to make false promises. He just wants to humbly focus on the truth. And this humility That's of the utmost importance, because as soon as the ego gets involved with the facts, they always smudge it, they always confuse things. The ego always wants so much more from the situation than is given. So just try and ignore all the negative voices in your head, and they're not even your voices if you listen closely. You just need to focus on the truth and on clarity for your life. And I'm sure as far as Jiddu Krishnamurti was concerned, the clarity part, that's the most important thing. The enlightenment thing, that's like the added bonus. As soon as you have the pocket full of clarity, then you get to live a life as a light to oneself. And then you never ever need to listen to anybody telling you anything, because you're the ultimate authority. No more wars, no more struggle, no more conflict, just peace. You see, when children ask, hey, what does love feel like? How do I fall in love? When do I fall in love? To be fair, those are pretty hard questions to answer, because when we think about love, it is undescribable. If someone's never felt it before and you try and describe it, it would just end up being confusing. And the same, you don't need to give instructions for love. You don't need to tell someone how to fall in love. You don't need to participate in a 2-week course to learn how to fall in love, or go on a retreat, or pay a guru to teach you how to fall in love, or give you love. It doesn't work that way, right? It's just perfectly natural. Most adults probably would answer and say, well, when you're old enough, you'll probably meet the right person. It was probably going to be the wrong person, but you can go ahead and find that out for yourself, because it's natural, it's human. If you're an empathic human being, it's easy. And the same is true for enlightenment. You can't imagine it. Every description you give would be confusing. And why bother describing it if Krishnamurti, within 1 hour, he can just show you? Like you could have clarity within 1 hour of his talks. You could see the truth. Arguably, it'll probably take a little bit longer, but you could find the truth for yourself. You don't even need Jiddu Krishnamurti. Like, if you're doubting your ability to see or to have that inner peace, to have clarity, everybody can do it. Any empathic human being can do it. But just to illustrate that you may have already felt this inner peace, probably doesn't sound that exciting because they're only glimpses, right? But I just want to illustrate that you've done it before, meaning you can do it, you can have that inner peace persist throughout your life until you die. So if you've ever been out and enjoyed a beautiful sunset, or been stopped in your tracks because you watched a squirrel eat a nut, or you've been so involved doing sports that you're so in the moment and your actions are, you don't think about anything, there are no intrusive thoughts, all the concerns about your real life are seemingly forgotten, and no matter what's going on, in that moment of time, everything just feels right. You're not concerned, nothing. It is what it is. And you can enjoy what you're doing. And what may be a less pleasant memory, but a more intense feeling of peacefulness, in case you've ever had a serious accident, or you've had a near-death experience. And especially in a near-death experience, like, you're literally dying. Like, shit couldn't be worse. But for some reason, like, I suppose Hollywood may be to blame, but you'd think that there'd be more thoughts racing through your head, or you'd be concerned about something, or you'd be mourning that your life is over. But maybe you found yourself just accepting what is, and you just accept that your life is over, and there's no sadness attached, there's no misery, there's no struggle, there's no fighting, and you just accept that the life you had is over. And lucky you survived. But this, this is, it couldn't be more of a state of emergency than dying, right? And you'd think you'd be super stressed, but it seems that when shit hits the fan, that egoic thought structure that narrates our life constantly, it disappears, because it turns out shit hits the fan. The egoic thought structure is unimportant. It's not helpful. All that you need is peace and acceptance. You lull yourself into the most comforting state that you can muster as a human being, and that's inner peace and acceptance. And if you can accept that you're dying, like, it's over, and you can accept pretty much anything, right? Because there's nothing worse than dying. Like, anyway, there's only glimpses, because you need clarity for the inner peace to persist continuously. And you are in control of finding the clarity to your life. Jiddu Krishnamurti is just trying to help you find it. And because you are such an important part of this conversation, you are an equal to Jiddu Krishnamurti. He always speaks eye to eye with his listeners, because you don't know it yet, but you're perfectly capable to live life as a light to yourself. You just don't know it yet. And Jiddu Krishnamurti, he treats you with the respect that you deserve as the complete human being that you actually are. Because within an hour, you may be exactly the same as Krishnamurti, you know what I mean? Like, you deserve the respect, because you are just as qualified, you're just as ready right now to find clarity and see the truth for yourself. There's no need to be patronizing and to tell you what to do or how to live your life. That we're so used to people telling us what to do. We're so used to our parents, school, boss, even our TV tells us what to do. Per your phone, even your phone is telling you what to do. Like, everybody tells us what to do, but that's patronizing. And to see the truth for your life, you need to understand that you are the ultimate authority. There's nobody more qualified than you to look at your life. And all the negative shit that adults have told you how you're not worthy or whatever, that shit doesn't matter. The shittier that your life experience was, the more disillusioned you are with your life, I reckon the easier it'll be to accept what Jiddu Krishnamurti is saying, to accept the truth, to not accept it, to see it for yourself. Because that's the beauty of it. And the more you'll gain from living as a light to yourself as well. So, just to underscore that anybody can reach enlightenment or to live life as a light to oneself. There's no prior knowledge necessary. There's no life experience. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. sexuality, none of that matters. It's all irrelevant. Those are all just arbitrary reasons that ideologies try to categorize us. If you're an empathic human being, you can see the truth to your life. And Jiddu Krishnamurti knew this, and that's why he spent his life traveling the world to try and show as many people as possible. And today, from beyond the grave, he's going to show you from the comfort of your home. So, you see, this anarchistic nature, us not wanting to conform to the rules, like, it's a perfectly human response to trying to conform to the system. And the signs of anarchy you can find them anywhere. And like, I'm not talking about punks or whatever, I'm talking about toddlers. If you look at toddlers, like, if you've ever watched a toddler trying to get their parent to buy them an expensive bottle of bourbon or whatever, all that they can see, you're born into the rules that you're born into. The toddler doesn't know the rules yet. They don't know how unreasonable they're being, right? They don't know that their parent can't buy them alcohol. They don't really care, because all they care about is that as a human being, they feel inherently free. And another human being who is equal to them, as far as they can see, because it's another human being, is limiting their freedom by telling them they can't have that bottle of alcohol, right? And that is perceived to be unfair, which it is, in a sense, if you see it from the toddler's perspective. The other human being is limiting their freedom. They don't care that that human being happens to be their God, aka their parents, aka the person that feeds them and wipes their bum. They don't give a shit about that. All they care about is that they feel that their freedom has been infringed and limited. And they will then oppose that with every weapon they have at their disposal. Tears and ample noise and dramatic gestures. Well, they will rebel against this. They are a lot more dependent on their authority than you are right now. Like, they can't do anything without their authority, but if they sense that their freedom has been limited, they will rebel, and they will let the other person know that they feel like their freedom has been limited. Unfortunately, and that behavior then is punished, and we are forced to conform to the rules. We have to conform to the rules. And slowly that rebellion gets ground down. And I'm sure that you've had plenty of bouts of rebellion. One only has to think of like when you were a teenager or when you were older, when we actually are independent, when we actually can feed ourselves and wipe our own bums. When we're working and maybe you had an existential crisis or a burnout, or someone close to you died, or you were made redundant, or messy breakup, or whatever it may have been. Sometimes we're propelled into this state of nothingness, this state where we question everything, a profound loss of faith. And it's odd, because we're so used to conforming, we're so used to following the rules. We do what everybody else is doing. The good sheep, or we follow the rules and we conform into the unhappy cogs of the wheel that we then all turn out to be. And this state of nothingness, of questioning, of the inner toddler trying to rebel, like, if we knew that that's the perfect breeding ground to find inner peace, that we don't have to go back to work and pretend like nothing's wrong. or we don't have to paint on a smile and soldier on. That from that state, if we just explored our questioning, if we just went into, if we trusted ourselves enough to see the questioning through, we would find inner peace. And if we knew that, well, then more people would find inner peace. It would be way more conventional, and we wouldn't need Jiddu Krishnamurti to hold our hands to show us how to find clarity. But with the toddler's rebellion, no one cares to understand what the toddler is trying to do. Everybody cares that the toddler conforms to the system, that he behaves the way that everybody else behaves, or she. Like, it doesn't. Nobody cares if the toddler is unhappy with following the rules, as long as you conform. And so it's like we are bred into becoming an unhappy cog in the wheel, because all we are told is to conform, and if we don't conform, we're punished. So we don't dare following the questions that we have. We don't dare questioning our authority, but just like the toddler does, just question it. It's fine. When you listen to Jiddu Krishnamurti, it's just remain humble, remain open-minded, and just listen what he has to say. Don't worry about arguing with him because, well, he can't hear you. Just with great attention, listen to what he's saying. Don't worry about having a motive or expectations, because as soon as you have that, you block yourself. It's, you can't know what to expect. So anything you expect is probably off the mark anyway. And as soon as you want something from him, as soon as you expect him to give you something, then you are no longer the autonomy. You're no longer the active party in the conversation. You need to think along with Jiddu Krishnamurti. The most important thing is forget everything you thought you knew, everything you've been told, everything you were convinced of, all the negative voices in your head, all the shit that I just said to you, except his name, Jiddu Krishnamurti. Just try and forget everything and just look at what is. It's like wipe the slate clean and you get to start afresh. And just listen to Jiddu Krishnamurti as if he's your dearest friend who is trying to tell you something very, very important with the utmost respect. And not to stress you out or anything, but it really fucking is. Enjoy. Jiddu Krishnamurti.